So my name is Amanda, and I'm going to be talking to you this morning about affiliate marketing strategy. Yay! So I will start by just telling you a little bit about who I am in case some of you aren't familiar or have not met me before. So again, my name is Amanda. I run a travel blog called A Dangerous Business. I'm at Dangerous Biz on all the socials. I've been blogging since 2010, which is crazy to me. That's like a third of my life. And I've been teaching people about affiliate marketing since roughly 2017. So this has been a while that I've been doing this, and pre-pandemic, I was making equivalent of a full-time income just from affiliates. Obviously, COVID has wreaked havoc on everything in the travel industry. Affiliates are starting to come back, though, so this is a great time to start thinking about your affiliate strategy if you haven't already. So, show of hands, who's already using affiliates on their site? Awesome. I'd say more than half, so that's great. So what we're going to talk about this morning, we're going to talk about how to get started. So if you're not using affiliates yet, it's fine. It's not too late. You can always get started. So we're going to go through just the kind of getting started steps. We're going to talk about how to then approach affiliate marketing with an actual strategy in mind that targets conversions. So I'm going to give you lots of examples from my own website, stuff that works, stuff that I know works for other people as well. And then we're just going to go briefly into some tips for how to grow that affiliate income long term. This is an ongoing strategy. This isn't just throwing a bunch of affiliate links on your website and then just letting it roll. There is a lot more involved, and if this is going to be part of your business model that you're planning to make money from, which is probably all what we're here to try and do, we're going to talk about that. So, there we go. So 5 steps to getting started. So the first question I always get asked is, when should I start with affiliates or adding affiliates to my site? And the answer, of course, is there's no right or wrong time. With a lot of affiliate programs, there's no barrier to entry, with a few exceptions. Like Amazon, for example, you have to make a certain number of sales within 3 or 6 months or they can boot you out of the program. But most programs, you can apply at any time and get started. Obviously, traffic does have some correlation to conversions, and that just makes sense, right? The more eyeballs that are on your site, the more opportunities you have for people to click through your links and buy or book something. But it does depend on your content. You can have a smaller site, you can have less traffic, you can have fewer posts, and still make money if it's the right kind of content. And then also, it's never too early to start learning. So even if at the end of this you're like, okay, I'm not there yet, I'm not ready for this, that's fine. At least you have a good kind of like starting point. And for those of you that are already using affiliates, hopefully you'll learn some new things and some tips from this today. So step 1 is obviously start with content you already have. If, whether you're just starting out or maybe you've had your website for many, many years, start with content that you already have. Kind of self-explanatory. But how you can do this, and I know I didn't start really getting serious about affiliates until 5 years into my blogging journey. When I started in 2010, nobody was talking about affiliates. Nobody was talking about SEO. Pinterest didn't exist. Instagram didn't exist. It was truly just like a different time. So when you are looking at your site and trying to figure out, okay, well, where can I even add these links? You want to audit your popular posts in Google Analytics. It's not very sexy, but it's very important. And you're going to look for things like, okay, what are those posts? And how are people finding them? And how long are they staying on the page once they get there? Because with affiliate marketing, reader intent really matters. And I'm going to come back to this multiple times during this talk because it's not, I don't approach affiliates with the idea that it's just a spray and pray method. You have to have a strategy and you need to know why people are landing on certain pages on your site in order to know how to add affiliates to those posts. Maybe? Okay. So when you're going through your analytics, and I'm not going to go through how to do that. Hopefully everybody knows how to look for their most popular content. But the types of posts that are going to be those most kind of affiliate friendly, shall we say, are going to be posts that are, in your top 10 to 20 all year or seasonally, depending on your content. And especially during the pandemic, I feel like a lot of our most popular content has really shifted. I know pre-pandemic for me, it was a lot of international content, and now it's a lot of US-based stuff. And so knowing what those popular posts are is really helpful. Knowing which posts are getting the most search traffic and also Pinterest traffic to an extent. So Pinterest, even though it has changed, the algorithm has completely changed in the last few years, but people still use Pinterest like a search engine. It's not a social network. People go to Pinterest looking for very specific keywords, just like they do to Google. So posts that get a lot of search traffic and or Pinterest traffic are usually going to be pretty good fits for affiliates. And then obviously posts that have a higher average time on page. So when people are clicking over from Google or clicking over from Pinterest and actually spending time on a post, and some of this ties into just good SEO as well, but if you are meeting that reader intent, if somebody's clicking on a post and you're giving them the information that they're looking for, then you have a much better chance of getting them to click on something that you're recommending. And I want to make this very clear as well, that not every post or even every website is going to be a good fit for affiliates, and that's totally fine. Don't feel like you have to add links to every single thing on your website. That's not realistic, and it's not useful in many cases. I have a second niche site that's just about Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland's not a huge tourism destination. There's not a ton of hotels. There's not a ton of tours. There's not a whole lot of stuff to add affiliates to, so my monetization methods on that site are very different from my main website, and that's fine. But when you're going through and kind of identifying those top posts, you can kind of decide, like, is this good for affiliates or not? And if it's not, that's fine, just move on. Man, this clicker doesn't like me. Okay. So once you've kind of identified some of your top posts on your site, then you have to decide, okay, well, which affiliate programs am I going to add? Where do I even start? This is probably the most overwhelming part, is just deciding which programs to join, because there are so many out there. So when you're trying to figure this out, always start with brands or products that you already know and love. And this is really important because effective affiliate marketing, it's all about trust. People need to trust your recommendations, and obviously if you're recommending something that you already are really familiar with, maybe a tour you've already taken, hotels that you've personally stayed at, that comes through in your writing. And this is something Valerie talked about yesterday in her SEO talk, that you can build trust with readers even if they're only coming to your website once. If they're just clicking through from Google one time, you can still build that trust just based on how you're writing your content and the sorts of recommendations that you're giving people. So if you're starting with products you're already using and brands and things that you already are familiar with, that's the best place to start. Obviously, if you have a niche site, you can look for brands that are in your niche. You need to think about where your audience lives. This is less important than it used to be. A lot of programs used to be kind of like country specific. Amazon is still that way, but most other brands and affiliates have kind of international, worldwide programs. So not a huge deal, but you still need to know where your audience lives. And I also really recommend surveying your readers. So this is something that I don't think enough of us do just in general, to ask people, why they come to your site and what they're looking for. But I also always include affiliate-focused questions in my reader survey. So I have some examples. So these sorts of questions can help kind of guide your affiliate strategy. So things like, how would you classify your travel style in terms of, how much do you spend on trips? What kind of booking sites do you use when you're booking hotels? Do you take guided tours? Do you purchase travel insurance? I would hope after COVID, most people are gonna say yes to that, but who knows? Do you read reviews on TripAdvisor? Like all these sorts of things to kind of focus in on how your readers are traveling and how they are booking things. Because one thing with affiliates is you can sign up for all the highest paying programs and the ones that you think are the most popular or the most well-known. But if your readers are not using those websites, like if you put Booking.com links in all of your content and your readers don't know Booking.com or they don't use it, you're not going to convert as well as if you use a site that your readers do use. So obviously with reader surveys, you're not going to survey every single person who reads your site ever, but it does, even if you just get a few hundred people to answer a survey and answer these sorts of questions, you can kind of get an idea and use that to guide your strategy. I did a survey, well, several years ago, and I asked this last question about TripAdvisor reviews, because TripAdvisor had an affiliate program, and I was like, I don't know if I should join or use it or whatever. And 94% of people who answered that survey said they either always or sometimes will read a TripAdvisor review before booking a hotel. So I was like, well, if they're already going there, I may as well send them through an affiliate link, right? So once you have surveyed your readers or just got an idea of what programs might be a good fit for you, I have some examples of popular programs. There are so many affiliate programs out there, so it is overwhelming. So first of all, at the top, you kind of have your networks, like your CJ, your ShareASale, all of these that aggregate a bunch of different programs in one place. Most of these are a mix of lifestyle and travel and basically any affiliate you could think of. You'll mostly find the bigger, kind of more well-known brands using these because there is like a fee to join like a CJ or an AWIN or something like that. You've got affiliate programs for OTs like Expedia, you have hotel affiliates, travel insurance, tour companies, Get Your Guide is here sponsoring, and Amazon, of course. Everybody knows about Amazon. And all of these, it is, again, going to depend on what you personally use and are familiar with and want to recommend to people and what your audience might be familiar with. I know there are some bloggers who don't want to send Jeff Bezos any more money and don't like to use Amazon links. That's fine, totally a choice you can make. But I always do tell people when they ask me about that, like, well, how do you feel about Amazon? Amazon's not going to go away, and people aren't going to stop using it. So you do have to kind of balance like where you are on that line of like, do you want to recommend it even though you really don't like the company versus, well, you know people are going to use it anyway. Some kind of not less popular, but just some other ideas for types of affiliates that travel bloggers might be curious. So certainly in the last couple years, your reward styles, your like to know, these kind of Instagram-based affiliates where fashion and beauty bloggers are, linking to what they're wearing. Those have become pretty popular, and you certainly can try to join those as a travel blogger. You do have to apply for those sorts of programs, and sometimes they're trickier to get into, but that's another option. People always ask me about airline affiliates as well. Honestly, most of them don't pay very well. It's literally like pennies per click or per booking. And then when it comes to like rewards, credit cards and stuff like that, that's another just really tricky spot in the travel industry because those are usually the types of programs you need like millions of page views to get accepted to like a credit card affiliate. But those are always options. And again, it's more just about, a lot of it comes down to your audience and your personal preferences and what you're using and what you feel comfortable recommending to people. So when you are deciding which ones to join, here are some things to look at. So it's going to be things like, what's the commission structure? What's your percentage that you're making? What is the cookie length on a program? So Booking.com is pretty famous. They have a session-based cookie. So that means in order for you to make a commission, somebody has to click your link and book a hotel right then, like in the same session, for you to make money. Other programs have a 30-day cookie or a 60-day sometimes, which that's great. Also, you obviously want to know like how you get paid, what's the minimum threshold you need to meet, and then what you're getting paid for. Is it based on sales? Is it based on leads? These are just all things to consider. And a lot of companies actually will have an affiliate program on multiple platforms, which is confusing. And sometimes they'll be on one and they'll have a direct program, and so sometimes it's just a matter of maybe the terms are more to your liking on one versus another. Maybe for me, I tend to use like the CJs and the platforms where they have a lot of affiliates in one place, because it's just easier to look at reports and kind of keep track of how much you're making, and also just to get paid, because with like a share a sale or an A-win or something, if there's a $100 minimum that you have to make before you get paid, it's not just per brand, it's overall in the whole like platform. So things to think about. So step 3 when you're starting, obviously disclosure is really important for like any time that you're potentially making money. Most affiliate programs will require you to have a privacy policy on your site, which you should have anyway. But and then disclosures like need to come according to the FTC before any affiliate links in your post. So you will see a lot of blogs just have a kind of a blanket affiliate disclosure at the top of every post on their site. I've actually heard conflicting things from like lawyers and stuff that like, that might not actually be completely enough to cover you, but I think if you're adding affiliate links to a lot of content on your site, it's probably fine as long as it comes before any of your links. And there are different ways that you can add that in. I don't think there are any programs other than Amazon anymore that they have like a specific sentence you have to have somewhere on your site to disclose that you're an Amazon affiliate. So all of those things kind of are included in your program terms. So anytime you're joining an affiliate program, you need to read your terms. You need to ask all these sorts of questions like, can you buy things through your own links? Booking.com, you can book a hotel through your own affiliate link and get a little bit of money back. Amazon, big no-no. Including links and emails or PDFs, again, with Amazon. All these things are like things you can't do with Amazon links, basically. Can you share your links on social media? Well, with Amazon, you can share on social. And then like cloaking or shortening your links, sometimes some programs don't want you to do that. These are all in your program terms. And your program terms, are basically your contract. So, you wouldn't agree to a new job or something without reading your contract, so you definitely need to read your program terms just to know what you're getting yourself into and how to not get kicked out of a program. So then step 5 is just to create the right content. So good affiliate content, it's going to combine, obviously, just good writing with SEO and then targeting the right reader intent. So these are the most important things when you're thinking about writing for affiliates. And sometimes this is going to mean that like you have to start thinking differently about the types of posts that you're writing. So just some very brief examples of some different affiliate-friendly types of posts that you can consider. So they're going to be your packing list, your gear guides, your where to stay posts, your reviews of tours that you've taken, gift guides during the holidays. I know we personally all hate seeing all the gift guides posted on Facebook around Christmas time, but I promise that your readers, like if you send out your gift guide in an email, your newsletter subscribers are going to click on it and they're going to see like what you're recommending this year. Again, destination guides and really detailed itineraries, that's like kind of my bread and butter. That's where I make a lot of my affiliate income. But I also wanted to mention affiliate links on social. So social media has changed so much in the last couple years, and with affiliate marketing, it's also changed. So it used to be that, brands didn't want you to share your affiliate links on social, but now it's kind of just expected almost. Again, this would be something that would be in your program terms, whether you can or can't share, but I always tell people, well, but is it worth it for you to put time and effort into creating the links and sharing them or whatever? But so some different ways that people are obviously using affiliates on different social networks. So Instagram, TikTok, obviously you can put links in your profile or in your bio. Instagram now has like specific shopping links, like you can sign up to actually sell things directly through your Instagram. Everybody can add links in their Instagram stories these days. And Pinterest also allows you, like you can literally just like make a pin that links directly to a product of some sort. Not anything on Amazon, that's still not okay, but anything else you could technically do. But my personal opinion is that these are probably only worth it for really specific recommendations for either something that's like high ticket or something that's gonna be an impulse buy. So if let's say you're on a tour somewhere and you do have people asking you like, oh, hey, what is this tour that you're on? Absolutely share an affiliate link on your Instagram or whatever, but I don't think you need to stress about having an ongoing strategy for social in the travel space. Obviously, like fashion influencers and bloggers, it's much easier to do this, to just link to like, here's the dress I'm wearing, or here's the shoes I just bought, or here's my, haul from American Eagle, or wherever they just, went and bought a bunch of stuff. So yeah, that's something to think about though. But, okay, so how do we make this an actual strategy? I told you how to get started, but this is the real meat here. So shifting from just adding a bunch of links on your site to actually building a strategy for affiliate marketing sometimes means you're gonna have to think a little bit differently about how you're writing content, right? So when I started blogging, everybody wrote very narrative content. It was all about storytelling. It was all about, I went to Thailand and here's what I did, or here's this, silly story about how I got lost somewhere. And that's still content that some of your readers are interested in, but as far as affiliates go, you really have to think more about SEO. You have to think long-term, and you have to think about what you and your site can actually rank for. So when I gave the examples of the different types of affiliate-friendly posts you can write, writing a post about where to stay in Paris for most of us. Even for me, I can't rank for that, right? Like there are way larger websites with tons more traffic and authority that could rank for where to stay in Paris and actually make some money, recommending hotels. I'm not one of those sites. So when you are thinking about the sort of content you're writing, you need to think, well, can I actually rank for it? And are people gonna care about what I have to recommend? So my best example is packing lists. I have a bunch of packing lists on my site. Some do really well, some not so much. So something really general like, a summer travel packing list. I'm not gonna be able to rank for that. Maybe if I link to it somewhere else, people will click on it. But the ones that do better are the very specific ones. So I have one that's, what to wear in Morocco as a woman, or what to pack in Iceland during the winter time. Like those sorts of more specific things are gonna be better affiliate-wise for most of us. And again, reader intent matters. I told you we'd come back to this. So when it comes to thinking about how you're writing your content, you need to solve a problem or answer a question for your reader. And at the same time, you need to learn to target the right phase of the buying process. So this is where it moves from just joining affiliate programs and throwing links into your site to actually coming up with a strategy. So briefly, here's a little illustration of the consumer buying process. So when it comes to the type of content that is gonna be affiliate friendly, you're not targeting this high level phase when people are just thinking about planning a trip, right? If somebody is, let's say, landing on your site for 10 things to do in France, right? They're probably maybe thinking about planning a trip to France, or they're interested in what there is to do there, but they're probably not yet ready to book a trip or to, buy any luggage or book a flight or a hotel or anything like that. So when you're thinking about the type of content to write, you really want to aim for that part of the process where people are actually making a decision to buy or book something, which seems obvious, but it is good to just remember oh yeah, my 20 fun facts about Iceland might get a lot of traffic on my site, but that's not the sort of content that people actually actively planning a trip to Iceland are gonna be looking for. So I'm not gonna worry about that one for affiliates, but my, 2 days in Reykjavik or where to stay in a certain part of Iceland are the ones that I'm gonna focus on for affiliates. And since I've been doing this for so long, I have hundreds of posts on my site, so sometimes you do have to zero in on the ones that are gonna make the most sense to add affiliates to, otherwise you just get overwhelmed and you never do anything. So let's talk about how to actually convert people reading your site into people who click on things and then actually buy or book. So when it comes to driving conversions, your affiliate links need to do at least one of three things. They need to either save people money, save people time, and help narrow down decisions. They can do more than one of these, but this is really the reason that you're going to add affiliate links to your content, is to do one of these things for people. Because, yeah, they just need to add some sort of value. Okay. So it needs to be about your reader and what they need to plan a trip. And this, again, sometimes just means a shift in thinking about how you're writing content. It's not really about what you did on your trip. It is, sort of, but it's also about, okay, how can you help someone do the same thing or stay in the same place or whatever it happens to be. So in content, links or widgets or whatever it is are generally key. Text links tend to do better than images or anything like that, only because images often get confused for ads and people don't click on them as much. But you want to work your suggestions into your content naturally. So I have a bunch of examples now for you. So this is just like from my site, in a post about Chicago, mentioning that, hey, if you buy this city pass, you can save $100 on attraction entry. Saving people money. People will click on that link if you're like, hey, you could save a bunch of money. And when you are thinking about how you're going to work links into your content in a natural way, remember that blog readers are not mind readers. In fact, a lot of people on the internet, we don't think about this, but you need to tell them what you want them to do. You need to use very active language and tell them exactly what you want them to do with a link. So, things like compare hotel prices, read reviews, check prices, book this tour here. Tell them exactly what you want them to do with a link, and I'll show you an example later that this is what people click on, not just the name of a hotel or the name of a tour. In a lot of my packing lists, I'll do things like, this dress is my favorite one for a trip to a hot destination, and people are curious, like, well, what is it? And they click on it. So just think about making people curious, but also telling them what you want them to do with a link. Okay, and here's another tip for people who are not mind readers. You want to recommend very specific things. So whether it's a product or hotels are the easiest example. So you don't want to overwhelm people with too many options, and at the same time, you don't want to assume that your readers only travel the way that you do. And I will give you some examples. So when it comes to narrowing things down and recommending very specific things, I have a little case study, a very, very brief case study. So some of you might know Jeremy Jones, who runs a site about Pittsburgh. He's got a niche site about Pittsburgh. When he first started adding affiliates to his site, this was literally his hotel affiliate. That one line was at the bottom of every single post, and I said to him, Jeremy, it just went to booking.com. That was it. It was like all the hotels in Pittsburgh on booking.com. Sure, it's an affiliate link, but it's not helpful. You're just sending people to a website that they probably may have been going to go to anyway, and you're not narrowing things down or making any specific recommendations. So I said, pick 3 to 5 different hotels in Pittsburgh that you would recommend and add those in. So this is what he changed it to. And he picked 5 hotels, and he said why he's recommending them. Like this one has free parking, this one has good views. If you're writing a family travel blog, maybe there's hotels that are very kid-friendly, or if pet-friendly, or just have something interesting that people might be like, oh, okay. I also always use the highest rated on TripAdvisor. That's a good one to mention to people, because again, we know a lot of people look at TripAdvisor reviews, so people are more likely to kind of click on that. And then you're just giving people a more pared down version. It's like, well, here are 5 to pick from instead of 200. And that just makes it, again, you're saving people time. Covering different travel styles is also really important. This is just an example. My husband and I went to New Zealand, and we did a camper van road trip, and I wrote like a road trip itinerary. But when I did that, I realized not everybody who goes to New Zealand is going to do a camper van road trip. Some people don't want to sleep in a van. They want to book a hotel or an Airbnb or something like that. So when I decided to recommend places to stay, I did a mixture of, well, if you're camping, here's the holiday park I recommend, and if you're not, here are a couple hotel options. And this is another reason why it is important to survey your readers, because you might think that your readers travel the same way that you do, and you might be surprised to learn that they don't. Maybe you're a very budget traveler and your readers are more kind of mid-range. Maybe you're a luxury traveler, but not all of your readers can afford the luxury hotels that you're recommending. So it's always a good idea to think about that. A lot of people will do hotel recommendations and they'll kind of do like a budget option, a mid-range, and a luxury. And that's another way to give really specific recommendations but kind of cover all the bases. You can also think about tailoring the choices that you're offering. This is a Get Your Guide widget. This is literally the only widgets and non-text links that I will use on my site because, and no, they're not paying me to say this. This was in here before I knew they were even at this conference. But I think that their widgets do really look nice. But what is good about these is that you can customize which tours you have show up here. So when I'm doing this sort of thing, I just think, well, if I'm booking a trip to Portugal, and I'm looking at tours, obviously I'm going to look at the ones that have a lot of reviews and are 5-star and, you know, have like the little, I don't know, bestseller logo or whatever. So a lot of times it even is, you know, even if you haven't been on every single one of these, and this is one case where with like tours and hotels, if you're doing kind of a roundup, I personally don't think you need to have personally stayed or experienced every single one, but if you at least did the research, like I went and read the reviews on all these tours and was like, yeah, that's when I would book, you know, if I wanted to do something like that. So I make sure that everything that I'm mentioning is, you know, there's some personal research that went into it. Also, don't forget that you're the pro here. You are the one who went to these places and did all these things, so use that. Use your personal experience to be like, hey, when I went to this place, I realized that you could skip the line or you could buy your ticket in advance, and so then you should do that to save some time. And that's one of the like most clicked on affiliate links on my site. So now here's one if you don't know which action to target. So this is, if you're not really sure where in the buying process somebody might be when they're landing on your site, right? So if you're writing a 10 things to do in Orlando, or like this is from a post about Universal Orlando, and it's just like kind of a breakdown of all 3 parks. So somebody might land on that post who's actually planning a trip, but somebody might not be there yet, and so I sometimes will give multiple options. Another example would be a friend of mine did a reader survey and found out that a lot of her readers are Marriott Bonvoy members, and so they book Marriott hotels more than any other type of hotel. So she's got like a, you know, book a hotel on Booking or book directly on Marriott because she knows that her audience specifically are a lot of Marriott users. So you can do both of these. The only thing with this is you do kind of want to keep track of what's working and what's not. So a good way to do this, and here's just another version of kind of this same thing. So this is a heat map. I use a program called Affilimate. It's AFFILMATE, and it is a paid thing. It's not cheap. It's like $50 a month, but they do tons of tracking for affiliate clicks and conversions and whatever. But another thing they do that's really cool is these heat maps. So this is a very similar thing about Cabana Bay, and the blue circles are where the most people are clicking. And you can see, so some people are clicking on the hotel name, but the most people are clicking on that very active link at the bottom, which is a TripAdvisor link that says compare prices of hotels near Universal. So again, you're telling people exactly what you want them to do, and that actually surprised me because I figured it would be, you know, maybe the review link or the book a stay, but no, it was the compare prices. So if you have the time to kind of like test these sort of things on your most popular posts or the posts that maybe you expect to be making the most money, that's always worth it to know this sort of stuff. So when it comes to actually building this into a larger business strategy, I do have some bad news. And the bad news is that affiliate marketing, it's not passive. People always refer to affiliates as passive income, and to an extent it is. Once you get everything set up, you don't have to, daily do things to make money from affiliates, but it's not just like set it and forget it. It can be, but it won't be as successful if you do it that way. So some of the non-passive things that you're gonna have to do if you're making this an actual income strategy, you're gonna have to keep track of your links. There's unfortunately not a great way to do this for all those billions of programs that are out there. Some people just do this in spreadsheets. Some people use link shorteners like Pretty Links or Thirsty Affiliates on your site that can kind of keep track of a lot of your links for you. You're gonna have to do some of that testing that I mentioned with different programs or products or link placements or CTAs if you're really serious about this. I will admit I don't track all my affiliates as much as I could, but the ones that I know are making me the most money, those are the ones that I focus on and make sure that, that everything is up to date. I check my top performing posts usually once a quarter, just to make sure that there aren't any broken links, that products are still there that I'm recommending, that nothing has changed in terms of how you enter places, or if you need reservations now after COVID and that sort of thing. And also just know, this is just a fact, that affiliate programs, 100%, they will move, they will close, they will change. If any of you were in the big Airbnb debacle of 2020 and 2021, for 8 months, Airbnb had an affiliate program that everybody could join, and they had a very high commission, and everybody went out and wrote posts about, the best Airbnbs in New York, or the best Airbnbs in Brooklyn. And people made a lot of money, and then 8 months later, Airbnb was like, we're not gonna do that anymore. We don't need affiliates, we're done. We're closing the program in 30 days. And of course, everyone had invested all this time and sometimes money into writing this content, and people were just lost their minds and I'm never using Airbnb again, and that's fine. I mean, I don't love the company either, but just know that this is just part of business, right? Companies will make business decisions that aren't good for your business, but they're good for their business, and that's just how it goes. So just know that you never want to put all your eggs into one affiliate basket, and you just want to obviously be aware that sometimes you will have to change your links or programs constantly. Just in the last couple months, I've probably gotten at least half a dozen emails from an affiliate that's like, oh, we're switching platforms. We're moving from CJ to Impact Radius or something like that. And so then you have to go and change all your links, and it can be annoying. And this is a point where, if your site is large enough, if you have the chance to maybe pass some of this work on to a VA or even an affiliate manager, if you're at that point in your business, that's great, because this can definitely take up a lot of your time if you let it. Okay, but some better news about affiliates and how you can actually make it part of your business. So affiliate sales can be just used as proof of influence, right? So if you are wanting to pitch campaigns to brands or DMOs or anything like that, absolutely, you can be like, hey, I have all this content about Portugal. And in the last month, I sold X amount of dollars of hotels in Portugal. Would you like to work together on a campaign about in Portugal or something like that? You can absolutely just show that, you're not just traveling and looking for freebies. You're actually sending bookings to hotels or tour companies or whatever that happens to be. So that's always something that's good to know, that you can actually prove you have influence. You don't have to have, 50,000 followers on Instagram to actually sell hotel rooms. You absolutely can ask for commission increases. Again, if you have a longer relationship with a brand or a company, and you can say hey, I made you $30,000 last year, can I maybe get a percentage or two bump in commission? A lot of them will be like, yeah, for good affiliates, they're very happy to do that sort of thing, just to kind of keep you, keeping them top of mind. And trips and campaigns can also have affiliate sales in mind, whether this is something that you're doing with a tourism board or whether this is just things that you're planning. So as my content has shifted more towards the very detailed itineraries and I really write my content as with in mind that like I want my readers to be able to plan the exact same trip that I did. So I want to try all the things that I'm going to recommend, obviously. And so that might mean, booking tours that maybe I wouldn't have done 5 years ago, but now I'm like, oh, but that might be something that my readers would be interested in, so I'm going to try it and write about it for affiliates. So a couple years ago, I did a day trip to the Amalfi Coast from Rome. Should you probably spend more than 1 day on the Amalfi Coast? Of course, but there are lots of people that don't have that extra time, so this was a cool trip, and this is one of my best-selling tours through affiliate links is that tour because people are interested and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. So just things like that, when you're actually traveling, you can keep in mind what you're gonna write your affiliate content later for. Okay, so that's the bulk of what I've got for you. I wanted to leave plenty of time for questions. I guess I talked fast because I got through that faster than when I practiced yesterday. But okay, some just kind of last advice is you can't force it. And I've already said this before, but it's not just about adding in as many links as you humanly can. You need to make it natural. You need to make it just make sense. Again, it needs to add value to your content and focus on actually helping people to plan trips or just to know what they should or shouldn't do in a place. So I think that's the biggest thing to keep in mind. When I started talking and teaching people about affiliate marketing years ago, there was kind of this feeling that it was icky, that it was salesy and people didn't want to feel like they were selling things to people. But if you do it right, if you're recommending things that you legitimately would pay for or have paid for or would just recommend to people, that absolutely comes through in how you write and what you recommend, and people can tell. People can tell when you're forcing it, people can tell when you're genuine about it, and if you're doing it in a way where it feels very natural, nobody complains. I've never had anybody complain about anything that I've recommended or that I use affiliate links. People just understand that's how the internet works these days. And yeah, it's fairly easy to make it feel very natural now. And I also think people have moved away from that idea of thinking that it's icky, which is great because it's a very easy way to monetize your site from, when you're a baby blogger up to forever. The biggest bloggers out there use affiliates in some way, shape, or form. So, I think that's it. The end. Okay, so we do have time for questions. You'll probably just have to yell, and I will try to hear you with my ears that were still ringing from that party last night. And also, if you want to find me, I'm just at Dangerous Biz on everything. Okay, in the black t-shirt here. Yeah, so the question was, does your affiliate disclosure have to go at the top of the page? No, in the US, FTC guidelines just say it has to come before any affiliate link, and it has to just make it clear that you're using affiliate links. The language of it is obviously very ambiguous, and some people are like, oh my gosh, do I actually have to put after every single link, this is an affiliate link? No, but it just has to come before. So yeah, if you don't have affiliate links till maybe the end of your post or a few paragraphs in, you can absolutely put that disclosure before that section, but just legally it has to be before anybody would click on an affiliate link. Yeah, he asked if you need to do it more than once if you've got a really long post. I don't think so. I think that's also something that's just kind of changed over the last couple years, is that almost everybody uses ads and affiliate links. So yeah, legally speaking, and I'm not a lawyer, obviously, Amanda, not a lawyer. But from what I understand, yeah, it just has to come before that first affiliate link just to let people know, hey, if you click on something, it could be an affiliate. I know, and I have like 800 posts on my site too. So yeah, her question was, how do you keep it all organized? Yeah, and like I said, there's not like one easy way because every program has different link structures and all this stuff. So I do have a spreadsheet just for like my most popular posts that have like maybe a lot of links. And I kind of keep track that way. I also use Pretty Links on my site, which is a plugin that lets you shorten links, but it also kind of keeps track of, it shows you like clicks and stuff like that, which I don't find very useful, but it does keep track of the links and also makes it easy if you need to edit links. So for example, if you have one affiliate link maybe to a hotel or a product or a tour or something that you know you're gonna use in multiple posts, a plugin like that is useful because if you ever have to change that link, like if they move programs or close or something like that, you can just go in the plugin and update the link once and it'll update throughout your whole site rather than having to do it individually. But otherwise, there's not like a magical thing to keep track of links. Like I said, I use that one program called Affiliate, and they do kind of keep track of like so much data. Like it's overwhelming for me because I'm not like a data analytics type of person. But yeah, I think sometimes too, you just also have to decide what the point is where you probably can't keep track of every single little thing. And yeah, so for me, it's just kind of those top posts that I'm updating a lot, so I want to make sure that I know like where I have links and that sort of thing. That probably wasn't very helpful, but. Right, so she said, do you use like campaigns or anything to track links? I have played around with like UTM tags and Google and stuff like that. That's probably as specific as I get. But with a lot of the affiliate networks, like when you create new links, you can add a specific tracking ID to links. So sometimes I will make those like super specific. Like if I have 2 links that are similar in a post, I'll make sure that just for my own notes, I know which link is where in the post. That's probably the easiest way to do it that doesn't get overwhelming, as long as you're keeping track of like what those different SIDs or tracking, I don't know, almost all of them. Even Amazon, you can create, I think it's up to like 100 or 200 different tracking IDs. So like on Amazon, I have a different tracking ID for each of my packing posts. That's mostly where I use Amazon links. So like I have one that's just for my Morocco packing post and one that's for Egypt. And so I can easily see like, oh, this post is, making more money than that other one. So yeah, but I don't do any other like paid programs to track affiliate links. I maybe should, but I don't. Yeah, so she asked if you can use affiliate links in like PDFs or ebooks. Yeah, so Amazon is very specific that you cannot use product links in ebooks or PDFs or emails. Other programs, again, that's something you need to look in your program terms because a lot of others, they don't care. And with Amazon, so Amazon also launched a few years ago their influencer program. So it's related to associates but separate, and you can actually build like an influencer store, and you can share links to your influencer store in emails and in PDFs. And so what I've done is I have a bunch of lists in my influencer store. So I have one that's like, my US road trip packing list and one that's like summer travel stuff. And so I can link to those lists in my email or in specific blog posts or whatever. But for other products and tours, it just depends on the program. So you would just have to look at the terms. But most affiliates are fine if you share links in emails, and as long as you're not like spammy about it, obviously. Oh, back there in the black. Sorry, back there in the black. We have 10 minutes, so. Okay, yeah, so she asked about link cloaking and if I do that to avoid hijacking links. I use like I said earlier, I use Pretty Links on my site, and I use it more just because it's easier to edit links that way. I'm not super worried about people hijacking affiliate links. It still is a thing, but honestly, I feel like there's so many things to worry about on the internet that sometimes you just got to be like, okay, I can't control that. But if you don't know what a link cloaker is, it basically just takes like the gobbledygook type of link that an affiliate will give you, and you can customize it and make it say whatever you want. So like for my some of my TripAdvisor links, it'll be like dangerous-business.com / whatever the hotel name is or whatever I decide to name it. And yeah, I mostly just use it for kind of like ease of use and keeping track of things. Yeah, so she asked about the Get Your Guide widgets and why I only use those. That's a good question. Yeah, I just find that other widgets did not perform. I've tested, map widgets from like Booking.com, or when Airbnb was around, they had like a widget that you could use. Other booking widgets I've tried before, and they just didn't convert. So the Get Your Guide widgets, I just find that they do convert, so those are the ones that I will use. I'll still use text links as well for tours, but I find that the Get Your Guide ones, I think it's just because aesthetically they look nice on a website and they're eye-catching for people as they're scrolling. So, but it's also something that you just need to test, because my site is not the same as yours, and so yours, maybe a hotel booking widget would work for your audience. It didn't work for mine, so. No company would sign that contract. Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, this is business. It's as much business for them as it is for us, and as much as it sucks that they can just decide to end a program, yeah, most of the time, you're signing the contract as the affiliate, and unless it was kind of like a very one-on-one type of relationship, maybe with a very small company or something, then maybe you could try and say like, well, hey, you need to give me so much notice before you decide to close a program. But for like a bigger company or affiliate, like, I feel like you'd probably just get laughed at. In the white. Ooh, good question. Percentage of my revenue. I probably should have looked at that. I'm trying to think. Last year, I think it was like 15 to 20% last year. I make the bulk of my income from ads, but affiliates are second, definitely my number 2. And pre-pandemic, it was, maybe 30 to 40%, maybe 30%. Yeah, so it's not a small amount. It does tend to sometimes be seasonal in travel. Like, as people are planning their summer travel, you tend to sell a lot more than around the holidays, for example. But yeah. Oh, over here. Yeah, so she asked like what percentage of my posts are focused on affiliates. Honestly, I don't know the percentage. Like I said, I've got like 800 posts on my site from 12 years. So I would say though that it's probably less than 100 that are really like, I have a lot of affiliate links in. And again, it just depends on the type of post. When I started blogging, I was writing my worst bus ride ever. That's not an affiliate-friendly post. Or doing kind of like photo-heavy stuff. Now I tend to write the really kind of detailed itineraries and guides and stuff like that. And so those are going to have affiliates for hotels and tours and that sort of thing. But again, I think it just depends on the site. Some people really hate writing the very informative, like affiliate-heavy stuff, and that's fine. But it is kind of like what's going to make you the income, because the really long kind of affiliate focus stuff is also the long content that's going to be better for ads and keep people on the page longer. So yeah, I think that's probably just a personal preference. Some people, that's all they like to write, is that very kind of like SEO heavy affiliate type stuff. So. Yeah, how do you survey readers? Good question. Yeah, so I usually send survey links. I've used SurveyMonkey in the past, which is paid, but it is one of those things where you could pay for like a month, do your survey, collect your results, and then just cancel if you're not planning to do surveys a lot. You can also just use Google Forms, though. That's the free version, and that's a lot easier. It just doesn't collate all the responses for you. You actually have to go through and read everything if you're doing like Google Forms where people are writing stuff. And yeah, I will send links through my email list. Sometimes I used to actually do this yearly, and I would like write a blog post, but again, that was like back in the day when nobody was doing SEO and you just wrote blog posts for like every little announcement you had on your site. Email list is going to be the number one because that's going to reach the people who are your fans and not just people finding your site through a Google search. You could also share links on social media, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, wherever else you actually have an audience that follows you and doesn't just like come across you randomly. Anywhere? Oh, back there. Yeah, so she asked like how much I focus on SEO and was it on purpose that I started doing affiliates or not. Yeah, so I think affiliates and SEO really go hand in hand. Good affiliate content you have to have good SEO for as well. Like I mentioned, you could write affiliate content that you're not going to rank for, but what would be the point, right? If nobody's going to find it, unless it's something very specific to your niche. If you have a very targeted niche site and maybe you have an email list where people are more interested in affiliate type content, then sure, that's different. But I really think affiliates and SEO go together. And for me, yeah, it was just that I started with affiliates before ad networks were really a thing. So at that time, gosh, this was like the wild, wild west of Google and making money on blogs. When people were selling text links and sponsored posts, and I was just like, I don't want to do that. I'd rather actually recommend stuff that I want to recommend to people. So that's when I really decided to learn more about affiliate marketing and focus on that. And then the advertising kind of came later. Anybody else? We're perfect on timing. We have 2 minutes. All right, I think I got everyone. All right, well, thank you. Oh, wait, one more back there. Yeah, so she asked about affiliate links, like direct affiliate links on Pinterest. I personally don't do those for that exact reason because I'm a travel blogger, right? So if I'm gonna recommend a tour to someone, I'm gonna write a blog post about it rather than just making a pin. But if you maybe have a blog or a section of your blog where you're focused more on like gear or products, it might be something just to test to see if you can get something going on Pinterest. But Pinterest these days, I still use it, but barely, because I just don't see the traffic from it that I did 3 or 4 years ago. So that would be something that you could test if you have the right kind of content. But yeah, I'm with you. I would much prefer to send people to my website to a post that has affiliates in it from Pinterest. Yeah. Well, thank you guys, and have a great rest of your conference.